The sky was a dull, lifeless gray, stretching endlessly over the ruins of what was once a bustling city. Skyscrapers, now shattered and leaning like broken teeth, were draped in ivy and moss. Nature had begun reclaiming the land, but the air carried a heavy scent of dust, metal, and decay. In the silence, only the wind whispered through the skeletons of human civilization. Amidst the ruins, one figure moved cautiously. Commander Arik Vey, the last known human, trudged across broken streets, his boots crunching over fragments of concrete. His eyes scanned the horizon, sharp and alert even though the weight of exhaustion pressed on him. Years of survival had honed his instincts, and every movement, every sound could mean life or death. Arik had lived in hiding since the alien invasion began. They had arrived without warning, enormous ships blotting out the sun, creatures with strange gleaming armor and weapons far beyond human technology. Cities fell in hours, governments collapsed in days, entire continents were overrun before humans could mount a proper defense. And now, in the silence that followed, he wandered a world that had forgotten its own name. He paused at a ruined intersection, kneeling to inspect a cracked metal case half buried in rubble. The case bore the emblem of Project Frostguard, a secret human initiative started centuries ago, when Earth's leaders feared a global threat no one could yet imagine. Arik's fingers traced the smooth surface of the case, feeling the faint hum of energy from within. He knew this was more than just a relic. This was hope. A sudden sound made him freeze. The wind carried a low metallic screech from above. Arik ducked behind a toppled wall, heart pounding. Alien drones hovered silently, scanning the streets for any sign of life. Their sensors glowed with an eerie blue light, scanning for heat and movement. Humans had become ghosts to them, and Arik had learned to move like one. He held his breath, counting the seconds as the drone passed by. Then slowly he crept out from his hiding place. Every step was calculated, every motion precise. There was no room for mistakes. The last human could not afford to die, not yet. Arik's destination was the underground bunker beneath the city's central library. It was a place long forgotten by history, but not by him. Beneath layers of concrete and steel, it housed the key to humanity's ultimate defense. Frozen soldiers, preserved for centuries, ready to awaken when the planet needed them most. But first he had to survive. As he moved, memories of the past haunted him. He remembered children laughing in playgrounds, the hum of cars on city streets, the smell of rain on warm pavement. That world had vanished almost overnight, replaced by a nightmare of alien conquest. Every day since had been a fight to endure, to keep alive the last spark of human civilization. Arik entered the library through a shattered side door, careful to avoid the shards of glass scattered like dangerous diamonds on the floor. The inside was dark and dust hung thick in the air. He moved toward a hidden elevator, the kind only those entrusted with Frostguard secrets could operate. He punched in the access code, a string of numbers he had memorized years ago, and the elevator descended with a grinding whine. The lower levels were colder, damp and silent, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. Arik's footsteps echoed off the concrete as he approached the final door, the one that led to the cryogenic chamber. Beyond it lay the Frostguard soldiers, humans enhanced for speed, strength, and intelligence, frozen in stasis until the day they were needed. Arik paused before the door. He knew the procedure. The keycard in his hand would activate the chamber, but only if the system recognized a human authority. His hands trembled slightly as he slid the card into the reader. Lights flickered, then glowed steadily. The chamber hummed, a deep resonance that vibrated in Arik's chest. He didn't notice the faint sound behind him until it was too late. A shadow moved across the floor, faster than human eyes could follow. He turned just in time to see a massive alien warrior charging toward him, its armor gleaming in the dim light. Arik reacted instinctively, firing his weapon. The pulse shot struck the creature, but it barely slowed. The alien lunged and Arik rolled aside, barely avoiding its grasp. He scrambled to his feet, but the door to the chamber was between him and his only hope. The alien snarled, a sound that was more vibration than noise, and charged again. Arik's mind raced. He had no choice. He leaped for the door, sliding the keycard into the final slot as the alien's hand swiped past him. Sparks flew and the system came to life with a brilliant blue glow. The chamber doors opened, revealing rows of frozen soldiers, perfectly preserved, their eyes closed in peaceful stasis. Arik knew he didn't have much time. The alien would return, stronger and more furious after being deflected, He pressed a small button on the control panel, initiating the thawing sequence. Cool mist filled the room as the cryogenic pods hissed and opened, revealing human soldiers towering and formidable. They were silent at first, unsure of the world they were waking into, but recognition sparked in their eyes. They understood immediately. They had a mission. Arik took a step back, pulling his weapon again as the alien returned, larger and more armored than before. He fired, buying precious seconds, but he knew he could not hold it off forever. The soldiers began to move instinctively, coordinating with one another with a precision that only centuries of training could produce. In a matter of moments, the alien was surrounded. Blinding flashes of light and bursts of energy filled the room as the Frostguard soldiers struck with speed and power, beyond anything Arik had ever seen. The alien's weapon faltered against their combined assault, but even as victory approached, Arik felt a sharp pain in his side. The alien's last swipe had found its mark. He stumbled, collapsing near the control panel, blood staining the floor. The soldiers didn't notice him. They were focused, disciplined, unstoppable. And that was the point. He had given his life to awaken them. As darkness began to creep into his vision, Arik managed a faint smile. The last human would fall, but humanity itself would rise again. The frozen soldiers, awakened and aware, represented a new hope. They were the legacy of his world, the defenders of a planet that had been written off as lost. The sound of the alien's defeat echoed through the chamber as the soldiers stood tall, scanning the ruined city beyond the bunker. Their eyes were sharp, their movements calculated. They did not need Arik to survive. They were human, enhanced and perfected, ready to reclaim the Earth. Arik's breathing slowed. His body ached, but in his mind he felt a surge of pride. The last human had fallen, yes, but he had not died in vain. A new chapter of humanity was beginning, one that would remind the universe that humans were not weak, not helpless, and never to be underestimated. As the Frostguard soldiers moved into the city above, the cold wind of the ruined world seemed to shift. For the first time in years, there was a glimmer of hope in the gray skies. Humanity was not gone. Humanity was coming back, and in the shadows where Arik lay, the faintest smile touched his lips. He had fulfilled his duty. The last human had fallen, but the first of a new human era had risen. Word count, I'm on 310 if you want. I can continue with part 2, where the frozen soldiers fully awaken and start exploring the changed world, keeping the story exciting and engaging in the same style. Do you want me to start part 2 next? You said ChatGPT said absolutely. Here's part 2 of your story, written in third-person style, simple English, fully engaging and safe for all audiences. Around 1,300 words, The Last Human Falls, Part 2, The Frozen Awakening. The cryogenic chamber hummed softly, its blue lights casting long shadows across the concrete walls. The soldiers, tall and powerful, stepped carefully out of their pods, their movements smooth, precise, and purposeful. Their eyes opened for the first time in centuries, scanning the dark, ruined room as if remembering a world they had never truly seen. They were the Frostguard, humanity's secret guardians. Genetically enhanced for strength, speed, and intelligence, each had been trained in every form of combat, strategy, and survival known to man. Yet the world outside the bunker was no longer the one they had been frozen to protect. Cities lay in ruins. Forests had overtaken highways, and the sky above was a dull gray, heavy with the scars of war. One of the soldiers, a tall man with silver hair and eyes sharp as ice, stepped forward. "Status report," he said, his voice deep and steady. Another soldier, a woman with an athletic build and a calm, calculating expression, answered, "Cryogenic systems stable. Weapons and armor systems online. Life support functioning at full capacity. Environmental readings show high levels of contamination and alien activity above ground." The first soldier nodded. "Then we move. Humanity has waited long enough." Meanwhile, the body of Commander Arik Vey lay near the control panel, still warm. The soldiers glanced at him briefly, their enhanced cognition recognizing his significance immediately. They understood that this human had been their trigger, the spark that had brought them back into the world. Though he was gone, his sacrifice had ensured that humanity would not end. The soldiers exited the chamber, stepping into the cold corridors of the underground facility. Dust and debris crunched beneath their boots as they moved with Pre. The ruined city was quiet, but the silence was deceptive. Above the broken streets, alien drones hovered in patrol patterns, their glowing blue sensors scanning for any sign of life. Yet below, the Frostguard soldiers moved with precision, each step calculated, each motion deliberate. They were awake now, fully aware of the world around them and determined to reclaim it. Silver-haired Commander Kale led the squad, his eyes scanning the horizon with unmatched clarity. Beside him, Captain Lyra adjusted her gauntlets, which glowed faintly with energy from the Frostguard power systems. Every soldier carried advanced weapons, armor, and knowledge accumulated from centuries of human ingenuity. They were not just soldiers. They were perfect instruments of survival. "Spread out," Kale instructed. "We strike the patrol first. Hit them fast, hard, and vanish before reinforcements arrive." The soldiers moved like shadows across the debris-strewn streets. Using the ruins for cover, they advanced silently, observing the drone's flight paths and the alien patrol patterns. Each soldier's movements were faster and more precise than any ordinary human, but they were careful. They had learned patience, and patience was often stronger than force. When the moment came, they struck. Lyra leaped from the top of a collapsed building, landing behind a drone. With a sharp motion, she disabled its sensors and weapons, causing it to crash in a burst of sparks. Others followed, targeting the alien patrol systematically. They used traps, misdirection, and strategic attacks to dismantle the enemy without exposing themselves unnecessarily. The aliens fought back with energy beams and mechanized units, but the Frostguard soldiers adapted instantly. One soldier, known as Rin, used a fragment of fallen alien machinery to create a temporary shield, deflecting blasts, while another soldier used enhanced speed to disarm the enemy. In minutes, the patrol was neutralized, their equipment captured for study. Kale surveyed the aftermath. "This is the start," he said. "We reclaim one area at a time. We adapt, we overcome, and we strike where the enemy is weakest." They moved through the city systematically, clearing streets, alleys, and ruined buildings. Each encounter with the alien forces was a test of strategy, strength, and intelligence. But the Frostguard were more than capable. Their training, combined with enhanced human abilities, allowed them to anticipate enemy tactics, counter them, and turn the battle to their advantage. As the day passed, they reached a central plaza, once the heart of the city. Here they discovered more survivors, humans who had hidden for months, even years, fearing the alien invaders. When they saw the Frostguard soldiers, awe and hope replaced fear. "You're real," one survivor whispered, his voice trembling. We thought humans were gone forever." Kale nodded. "We are here, and we will not leave until this world is ours again." The soldiers quickly organized the survivors, teaching them how to move safely through the city, how to hide, and how to defend themselves. They were not merely protectors, they were mentors, showing the humans that survival was possible and that they were not alone. Even as they worked, the Frostguard continued scouting for alien operations. They discovered an alien supply depot on the outskirts of the city, heavily guarded and stocked with weapons, energy cells, and information technology. Kale studied the layout carefully. "We take it tonight," he said. "We hit fast and hard, and we leave nothing behind for them to use against us." That night, under the cover of darkness, the soldiers launched their attack. They moved silently, using shadows, ruined buildings, and agility to avoid detection. Energy weapons flashed briefly in the dark as they struck alien sentries, each soldier coordinating flawlessly with the others. Lyra disabled the main gate's energy shield, while Rin and two others took down perimeter guards. Kale led the final breach into the depot, neutralizing alien command units and capturing critical supplies. In less than an hour, the mission was complete, and the Frostguard soldiers disappeared into the shadows, leaving the aliens confused and unprepared for the sudden assault. The operation proved a crucial lesson. Humans, even enhanced, relied not just on strength but on ingenuity. The aliens had technology, numbers, and experience, but they underestimated the ability of humans to think differently, to use their environment, and to adapt faster than their opponents. The Frostguard soldiers returned to the central plaza at dawn, bringing supplies and information. The survivors greeted them with cautious smiles, now trusting that humans could rise again. Kale addressed them all. "We will rebuild. We will reclaim what was lost. But we must be ready. The enemy will respond, and when they do, we will be stronger than ever." Over the next days, the soldiers expanded their influence. They explored abandoned neighborhoods, securing safe zones for humans to settle. They discovered alien communication hubs and destroyed them, severing enemy coordination. Each victory, though small, boosted morale, and proved that humans could fight back against any odds. They also studied captured alien technology. The Frost Guard were humans first. They learned quickly, experimenting with alien weapons, adapting them for human use, and devising new strategies that even the aliens could not predict. Rin modified energy cells to power human-made devices, while Lyra reverse-engineered alien scanning drones to act as early warning systems. Every adaptation made the humans stronger, faster, and more capable. One evening, Kale observed the city from a high vantage point. Fires burned in abandoned zones, but they were controlled, signs of human ingenuity reclaiming the streets. The wind carried the faint sounds of life, voices, footsteps, and the hum of machinery being repaired. This city, once thought lost, was becoming alive again. Kale reflected on the path ahead. Humanity's revival would not be easy. Alien forces were still strong, and entire regions of Earth remained under occupation. But the Frostguard soldiers had something the aliens could not understand: the unyielding spirit of humanity, the ability to adapt, to endure, and to fight back against impossible odds. "Today we strike. Tomorrow we reclaim," Kyle said softly to himself, "and one day this world will be human again." The soldiers continued their work, training survivors in combat strategy and survival. They restored old communication networks, built temporary shelters, and scouted areas for resources. Every action strengthened the human presence, turning fear into hope, despair into determination. And the aliens were not idle. They began sending reinforcements, larger patrols, and more sophisticated machines to hunt the humans and the Frostguard. But each attempt was met with ingenuity and courage. The Frostguard anticipated attacks, set traps, and struck at key targets, weakening the enemy while strengthening humanity. As the city slowly transformed from a ruin to a bastion of resistance, the soldiers understood a fundamental truth. Humans were not merely survivors. They were fighters, innovators, and pioneers. Even in the face of overwhelming force, they could adapt, improvise, and overcome. The Frostguard's influence began to spread. Other cities, still silent and abandoned, would soon feel the spark of revival. Humanity was awakening from the shadows, and every victory inspired the survivors to rise, to fight, and to reclaim their place in the world. Kale looked out across the horizon, where the alien forces were regrouping. The battle ahead would be hard, and many dangers awaited. But he knew humanity had one advantage the aliens could never overcome: the mind and spirit of humans, united in purpose, unstoppable when driven by hope. And so, with dawn breaking over the ruined skyline, the Frostguard soldiers prepared for the next wave of battles. They were no longer just awakened, they were alive, aware, and determined. The fight to reclaim Earth had begun in earnest, and humanity's iceborne soldiers were ready to strike back, stronger than ever. The last human may have fallen, but humanity's legacy was alive, vibrant, and ready to reclaim the planet. The Earth would remember its children, and the universe would learn that humans, even against impossible odds, could rise again. Word count, Cameron 310. If you want, I can continue with Part 4, where the Frostguard soldiers take the fight directly to the alien command center, introducing intense suspense and strategy, while keeping the HFY theme strong. Do you want me to continue with Part 4? You said ChatGPT said absolutely. Here's Part 4 of your story. Written in third-person style, simple English, fully engaging and safe for all audiences. Around 1,300 words. The Last Human Falls. Part 4. The Heart of Resistance. The Frostguard soldiers stood at the edge of a ruined highway, looking up at the sky. Far above, enormous alien ships orbited Earth, their metallic hulls glinting in the weak sunlight. These were not mere patrols or small units. They were the command vessels controlling the alien forces on the planet below. To defeat the invaders, the soldiers knew, they had to strike at the heart of the occupation. Commander Kale gathered the team in the shadow of a crumbled overpass. His silver hair caught the light and his eyes were sharp, filled with determination. "We've cleared the city, trained the survivors, and captured supplies," he said. "But the war is not over. The aliens still control their forces from the orbital fortress. If we want Earth, we take the fight to them." Lyra, standing beside him, adjusted her armor. "It will be dangerous." The dawn over Earth was quiet, but it was not the quiet of defeat. It was the quiet of preparation, of a world holding its breath before a final stand. The Frostguard soldiers had struck at the heart of the alien command, But the battle for the planet was not over. Pockets of resistance remained across continents. Alien patrols continued to hunt survivors, and remnants of advanced alien machines patrolled ruined cities. Commander Kale stood atop the rebuilt communications tower in the central city. From here he could see the vast stretches of Earth slowly coming back to life. Small human settlements were rising, survivors moving with purpose, rebuilding homes and shelters under the protection of the Frost Guard. "Today, we reclaim the world," Kale said to his soldiers, his voice steady, calm, and full of determination. "We fight not just for survival, but for the future of humanity. Every step we take today will ensure that no one can ever take this planet from us again." Lyra adjusted her armor and checked her weapon systems. "The aliens know we are coming," she said. "They will throw everything they have at us, but they cannot understand human strategy, creativity, and courage. That will be our edge." Rin, reviewing captured alien communications, nodded. "We have mapped their positions, supply lines, and patrol rotations. The world may be scarred, but we know their weaknesses. We strike smart and we strike together." The plan was precise. Multiple squads would advance simultaneously, striking alien positions, freeing occupied zones, and coordinating with survivor groups to secure strategic locations. They had learned from every encounter, adapting their tactics to maximize effectiveness while minimizing risk. The first strike was in the northern industrial zone, a sprawling complex of ruined factories and warehouses. Alien machines patrolled the area, but the Frost Guard moved swiftly, using shadows and debris to approach unseen. Lyra led the strike team. They moved like a single organism, silent, precise, and deadly. With coordinated energy blasts, improvised traps, and agile maneuvers, the soldiers disabled patrols, neutralized defenses, and secured the zone in hours. Human survivors were freed and alien weapons captured for further adaptation. In the eastern plains, Kale led another team to intercept a convoy carrying alien supplies and reinforcements. Using terrain and clever misdirection, they set ambushes that turned the convoy into a trap. Alien soldiers were confused, their vehicles disabled, and humans, guided by Frost Guard strategy, reclaimed the area. Every success inspired hope. Word spread among human survivors that their protectors were unstoppable. The Frost Guard soldiers were more than warriors. They were symbols, embodiments of humanity's resilience, courage, and intelligence. As the day progressed, the soldiers moved to the central city, where the largest alien occupation force remained. Massive machines patrolled the streets, armed with energy weapons capable of leveling entire blocks. But the Frost Guard had learned, adapted, and planned. They did not charge recklessly. They analyzed, coordinated, and struck with precision. Rin modified captured alien drones to act as decoys, drawing enemy fire while the main squad advanced through hidden corridors and ruined subway tunnels. Lyra deployed energy disruptors to interfere with alien communication systems, isolating patrols from command. Kale led small teams to sabotage alien machines, turning their weapons against them. The battle was fierce. Alien machines fired with relentless precision. Patrols attempted flanking maneuvers, and defensive turrets glowed with deadly energy. But the Frost Guard soldiers were unstoppable. Enhanced strength, speed, and intelligence combined with human creativity allowed them to outmaneuver, outthink, and overpower the enemy. Survivors joined where they could, inspired and trained by the Frost Guard. Though ordinary humans could not match the soldiers in combat, they provided vital support, guiding teams through the ruins, delivering supplies, and creating diversions that aided the larger strategy. Together, humans and Frost Guard operated as one force, unstoppable in their resolve. Hours turned into a full day of fighting. The city became a labyrinth of controlled chaos. Alien machines destroyed, patrols neutralized, and streets reclaimed. The once occupied central city now stood under human control, a symbol of what could be achieved with courage, strategy, and determination. As night fell, the soldiers regrouped. The city was secure, survivors celebrated quietly, and the aliens were in retreat. But Kale knew the war was not yet finished. Other cities and regions still remained under alien control, and remnants of their forces could strike back at any time. "We've won the day," Kyle told his soldiers, "but the fight continues. Humanity must rise not just to survive, but to thrive. Every city we reclaim, every survivor we protect, is a step toward a future where no one can threaten us again. Lyra looked around at the rebuilt streets, small fires burning for warmth and light, humans working together, children laughing cautiously for the first time in years. We've given them hope, she said softly. That is as important as any battle we've won. Rin smiled. And humanity is clever. We've proven that. We adapt, we overcome, and we endure. Alien technology cannot match human innovation, especially when paired with courage and will. The Frost Guard soldiers spent the next weeks consolidating their gains. They repaired critical infrastructure, restored communication networks, and established secure zones where humans could rebuild their lives. They trained survivors, creating teams capable of defending themselves, ensuring that humanity would no longer be helpless. In the Arctic facility, new recruits were awakened from the remaining cryogenic pods. The legacy of humanity expanded, bringing in more enhanced soldiers to join the ranks. Every new soldier added strength, knowledge, and determination to the growing human resurgence. Alien forces attempted to regroup, sending scouts and small patrols, but the Frost Guard soldiers were always ready. Using intelligence gathered from captured technology and strategic planning, they anticipated every move, turning each attempt into an opportunity to strengthen humanity's position. Months passed and Earth slowly began to heal. Ruined cities were cleared, forests were reclaimed, and survivors worked together to rebuild communities. The Frost Guard remained vigilant, but their presence inspired humans to take courage and act independently, proving that humanity's spirit could no longer be suppressed. Kale stood atop a rebuilt tower overlooking the city once more. Below, humans worked together, laughter mixing with the hum of machinery. The last human may have fallen, he said quietly, thinking of Commander Arik Vey. But humanity itself has risen. We are alive, we endure, and we thrive. This is our world, and we will never let it fall again. Lyra joined him, her eyes reflecting the sunrise. We have fought, adapted, and overcome. The universe will remember this day, not as the day humans nearly fell, but as the day humans rose stronger than ever. Rin added, We have shown the universe that humans are more than flesh and bone. We are intelligence, courage, creativity, and will. We are unstoppable when united. The soldiers looked out at the horizon where the first signs of recovery stretched for miles. The Earth was still scarred, but it was alive. And the humans who had survived, guided by the Frost Guard, would rebuild it into something stronger, safer, and wiser. From the shadows of ruined cities to the heights of rebuilt towers, the legacy of humanity shone brightly. The Frost Guard had not only defended Earth, they had inspired a new generation of humans to rise, learn, and thrive. Every child born in this new era would grow up knowing that humans could face impossible odds, adapt and reclaim what was theirs. As the sun rose fully, bathing the Earth in light for the first time in decades, Kale and his soldiers prepared for the future. There would always be challenges, threats, and unknown dangers, but humanity was ready. The Frost Guard soldiers had awakened a new era, proving that humans, even after near extinction, could rise stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever before. The last human had fallen, but humanity was reborn. Earth was theirs once again, a world of hope, courage, and endless possibilities, and the Frost Guard soldiers would stand as guardians of this new dawn, ensuring that the spirit of humanity would never be extinguished. The wind carried the sounds of life across the recovered streets. Children's laughter, human voices, the hum of machinery, all mingled in a chorus of revival. Humanity had endured, adapted, and risen. The Earth was alive once more, and with it the promise of a future forged by courage, intelligence, and unyielding spirit. The Frost Guard soldiers watched over it all, silent but ever vigilant. They were more than protectors. They were the embodiment of humanity's strength. And as the sun bathed the world in golden light, they knew one truth above all. Humans would never again be underestimated. The dawn had come. Earth was alive. Humanity had returned. And the universe would never forget the rise of the Frost Guard.